I think it was my third month I was out the hole because I lost the first month. The second month I didn't lose, I gained, but I was like clawing my way back from being in the negative. Platforms like Redbubble and TeePublic, there's nothing that I have no interest. You cannot be successful in this business if your average order value is one sale. But we end up getting better reviews for that. We end up getting repeat customers for that. And it's a lot less work for us to do those things. What I will say is though, like, it's hard, but it's worth it.
How do you get around that?
You don't.
This is episode number 30 of Print on Demand Wisdom. And today I interview Shimmy, who I've actually had on this podcast before, but about a completely different topic. And it's a couple of years ago at this point. Shimmy has actually pivoted to Shopify over the past 2 years. And I wanted to pick his brain about that and figure out, can you sell t-shirts on Shopify on a lower budget, or how much budget is required? I wanted to see what sort of designs or niches people should consider if that's the route they want to go down. I also asked Shimmy what's important about Facebook ads and the email marketing and how to make sure your website actually converts well. Hey Shimmy, how are you doing? Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. I'm good. It's been a while since we last spoke, so I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it was actually, I look back at it, it was April 2023, which is almost 2 years ago now, which is crazy.
Whoa.
And back
then... we have spoken since. Yeah. Everyone know. We haven't just been ghosting each other for 2 years.
Yeah, on the podcast format there, it's been 2 years, which, funnily back then, we were actually talking about Redbubble and their new tier system.
Yeah, wow, so much has changed.
Yeah, I mean, not with Redbubble, but a lot has changed since then in terms of your focus, which is what this interview is going to focus on, which is more Shopify. So you've been in both worlds. You've done the marketplace POD, the Amazons, the Redbubble, all that stuff, and now you're focusing more on Shopify. So I'm curious to hear, like, what from your experience are the differences between the two?
Nice, yeah. I mean, I still have Amazon. Once you get like a merch account, you try not to do anything to get rid of it. But the way I see it is the main difference, and this is how I kind of explain to everyone, is both are good. They're just different. And what I mean by that is when I create a design or a group of designs and I upload it to a marketplace, great, it's there. It's on the marketplace. I now have to wait and hopefully it will get sales. When I upload a design and put it on my Shopify store, when I run my Facebook ads, I can determine within a week, less, if that design is going to make me any money, if it's going to be a valuable design. And it just allows me to quickly iterate and move on and find winning designs. Whereas, for example, if I put a design on Etsy, 6 months down the line, it gets no sales, I'll probably deem that design as a failed design, right? However, if you actually look at the stats of that design, maybe it only got 20 views or 30 views, not because it was a bad design or a fail, but because it didn't work with the algorithm, it didn't get ranked. And that's no fault of your own. It's not in your control. But in my head, I would deem it as a failed design, versus if I put that design on my Shopify store, within a week, if it gets no sales and me spending some money testing it, then I'm like, okay, fine, yeah, this didn't work. I'll leave it on my store. Maybe it will get organic sales down the line, but I'm not going to push it harder. This design didn't work. This style didn't work. Something about this didn't work. I'm going to move on quickly. And I just think I'm massively into data. I'm massively into like analyzing something and working off of proven like data and statistics. And I just felt with the marketplaces, you're too reliant on like this almighty algorithm to kind of bless you with views that hopefully result in sales. I don't even care if Etsy got me sales. It's more about getting me views. If I know that I could post on Etsy and get like 100 views in a week, and then whether I get sales or not doesn't matter. If I know I can get those views, I can at least then make a calculated decision or come to a conclusion about what I want to do next. That design didn't get sales, it did get sales, how should I move on? But you just can't, you can't. But with Shopify, I can see, I've hit 100 views on this design now. What's going on? Is it being added to the cart? Is there checkouts? Are people leaving the page instantly? Do they go to another design and buy that one instead? Like, what's happening? And there's so much data there. And I think when you're trying to grow a proper business, that's like vital. Like it's so important.
You don't really get any of that data on Etsy either. Like even if you get the views, you don't really know, where did they drop off? It's harder to tell what's going on, right?
Yeah.
But you touched on something there, which is important, I think, is that you pay to test the designs. It definitely makes sense. Like you can test them more quickly, but in this case, with Shopify, you're paying most likely for Facebook ads. With the marketplaces, you upload them and you're kind of waiting, hoping, or you need a bit of luck for them to get views and sales. But you don't necessarily need investment. So is this something that people on a low budget can do as well, in your opinion?
It depends how low the budget is. The way I think of it is like, I firstly don't agree that like marketplaces are free, but they're certainly cheaper, especially ongoing. With Shopify, the whole setup of a Shopify business with let's forget ads first, like a split second here. The full setup could cost you less than $50, very, very cheap. And especially with like some of Shopify's, like right now they have a promotion where it's $1 for the first 3 months, like $1, $1. So you can really set Shopify up for very, very cheap. The expensive part are the ads. And I always say you don't need to spend like a lot of money to get a good amount of data. You could get some good data with $100 of spend. It's where people go and spend thousands, as you know, and it's like, I spent so much money and I haven't got sales and I don't know what to do, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, before you spend a lot of money, learn how to analyze the data, learn what you're looking at, learn what you're trying to find, learn what you're trying to get to, what your goal is. So for example, a good goal would be like a low cost per click, lots of impressions, whatever, stuff like that, right? And if you spend $100 on a test, yes, $100 is a lot of money, but hopefully you'll get a little bit of data from that $100 to decide what to do next. So what I tend to do is I tend to tell people $1,000 is like a good starting point to test enough designs, enough things to be able to make informed, calculated decisions about what to do next. I don't suggest that you'll make money from that $1,000. I don't think you'll be in profit after spending $1,000. In fact, I don't even think you'll be in profit after spending $2,000 or maybe even $3,000. But the data that you're getting and you're kind of whittling it down. So you start with like a big pool and you kind of like you throw everything at the wall, see what sticks. Once you've got a couple things, you whittle it down. And then you get to a point where you have like what I like to call like winning designs or winners. And then when you are spending money, you are making money. So you might you might like be $3,000 in the hole. And then you find that winner. And then the next month you go $2,000 in the hole. The next month you're $1,000 in the hole. The next month you're now break even. And then it's like up, 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 up. And that's kind of how I see it. So if you're on like a really low budget, like less than $500, and you can get accepted to like Amazon, merch on demand, go for it. If you can get into Etsy, go for it. But then I think it's also like a mentality standpoint of like how you want this business to be. Do you want this business to be like a side hustle where you're kind of having some fun, or do you want this business to be able to actually become a business, replace a 9 to 5, or maybe even sell it one day, like for it to be like a proper business? And that's kind of what shifted me, because I did Shopify like 11 years ago. I did it for about 7 months. It was really good. And then I moved on to Amazon, like not Amazon merch, but Amazon FBA. And then I just kind of forgot about Shopify. And then like, what was it? Just over a year ago now, a bit longer than a year ago. Yeah, a bit longer than a year ago. I was like, I'm going to do Shopify again because I actually like that platform. And I had the money to invest.
How's that been going for you? Like first of all, how long did it take you to get out of that hole? And then how's it going for you now, your Shopify?
I can't remember exactly how many months it was. I documented the first few months on YouTube. I think it was my 3rd month I was out the hole, because I lost the first month. The second month I didn't lose, I gained, but I was like clawing my way back from being in the negative. And I think it was the 3rd month or like late in the 2nd month where I broke even, and then it started going up. It's going good. It's very bipolar.
Okay.
Like I was talking to someone about it, and they were like, "Oh, I'm having such a terrible Sunday. Like, for some reason, they said I got 5 sales the day before, and now I've got no sales." I'm like, this is how it is, At the very early stages, you can go from like 0 sales, 5 sales, 10 sales, 0 sales, 12 sales, 0 sales, 50 sales. It's very much like that. what you want to aim to do is get to a point where there aren't 0 sale days, but there are low sale days. So it's like 100 sales in a day, 70 sales in a day, 110 sales in a day, and then like 50 sales in a day. And maybe that's like your low. And there are some days that aren't profitable and there's some days that are profitable. Like, it's not every single day is in the green. It's important to look at this over a month period and also factor in what's going on. So like the person who was talking about not getting many sales yesterday, Sunday, I was like, you got to look at what's going on in the world. Like, why do you think you're not getting sales? And we came to the conclusion that it's Super Bowl Sunday. There's a lot going on. People aren't necessarily on Facebook scrolling, buying gimmicky graphic T-shirts. And considering most of our audience is America, there's like these external factors that you've got to consider. And because I know some people will be like, I didn't get any sales today. Like, everything's terrible. This doesn't work. Like, I've got to stop. Got to move on. I'm like, well, let's take a beat and just see what happened, and evaluate it. And we could see like their cost per click went up a little bit, which means it was harder for the traffic to be served. They got less clicks to their website. So even though their conversion rate on their website wasn't impacted as much, they got less visitors to their website, so less sales, or in their case, no sales. And there were like various factors there, but ultimately it was most likely because of the Super Bowl. And then there's other things, but no, it's going good. I definitely prefer it a lot more than when I did Etsy and Amazon. And like I said, I still have things on Amazon, but I don't even remember the last time I logged in. And then platforms like Redbubble and TeePublic, there's nothing that I have no interest.
Yeah. No point of really talking about them much these days, unless like a few extra dollars a month make a difference to you. Like if you live in a different country, yes, maybe then it's worth considering. But it's good to know that you do both, or you have both, right? It's not like one or the other. And I think, like, from my experience now, having done this for a couple of months as well, starting to test ads with my Shopify store, and also being in the hole, it's like you need to invest some of that money, but you can definitely lower the amount of how much you're wasting, in a sense, initially, if you know what to focus on in terms of the ads statistics. I think it's knowing what you're looking for with the ads is the important thing.
Yeah.
You can run a lot of ads and like just hope to collect a lot of data, but already there's signs that there's no point of running these ads and you should be turning them off. So that's definitely a big thing. We'll get into the ads later on as well. What in your opinion is the most important thing when it comes to running a Shopify store? Is it the ads or is it something else?
The designs are the most important thing. Ads are important. Obviously, they're your traffic source, but they're not. Once you know how to set up an ad, you know how to set up an ad, right? And it's not like we're doing in-depth targeting or things like that. So they're very broad ads, and we're kind of relying on Facebook to know what it's doing. And Facebook is pretty good at that at this point in time. I remember way back when I did Facebook ads, I had to put in various interests. I had to like scrape audiences. I had to lookalike audiences. I had to do all these different things. Now it's a lot more basic. So once you know how to set up an ad and read the data, I don't want to say the ads become easy, because the ads are never easy. It's a complicated platform, but I don't think it's the main thing. I think the main thing are the designs. I think of every design as a potential promotion. So, if I have a design and it takes off and it makes me an extra 5,000 a year or something, or 6,000 a year, let's say, that's great. I've just received, I imagine I have a 9 to 5 and I've just received a $6,000 promotion for the year. Except the difference is every design I do is a technical promotion if it works. So the way I see it is, once you know what designs are working on your store and you create more of them, don't stop creating the designs. At the end of the day, the designs are going to be the determining factor of whether someone buys or not. If you have like a semi-decent ad with an incredible design, it will still sell. If you have the best ad ever done by an ad guru expert who has made billions, but they create a terrible design, maybe it will sell one or twice. Like, I don't know. I mean, I just don't think it will sell at all. Like, it just won't. So I think it's from my experience, I know it's been the designs that have been the determining factor. There are other important things though, like the mock-up can be a huge factor in how much the cost per click is, and then the cost of the cost per click is a big factor in determining what your profit margin is going to be. If you have a successful design but you're paying $5 for a click or something, but the design's getting lots of sales, you won't actually be profitable from it. You need to make sure that you are running at a net positive, regardless of if you're getting sales.
So it's about designing mock-ups as well, in a sense. It's not just about the design itself, the mock-up.
Yeah, and we do a huge mock-up test at the beginning, or we suggest people do a huge mock-up test at the beginning. So like, for example, we recommend people spend a Thursday to a Sunday, so like a weekend, because statistically that's the best time to get sales. We recommend they do $25 a day if they can afford that. If not, then a bit less. But that's $100 over the weekend. With that $100, we can determine a lot. So we recommend doing a mock-up test first, and basically a controlled test where you have a specific design and you test various different mock-ups, and the goal of that test is to get the lowest cost per click. Once you've got your lowest cost per click, you then update the mock-ups on your website, and then you start running various different types of ads. I know we're going to talk about this later, but then you start running various types of ads with a low cost per click, and then it's just about seeing what design works. The question most people have is, in the mock-up test, if you're trying to run a controlled test, what design do you use? Because you have no data on what designs work. So typically what I tell people to do is I say, for this first design, go and find something that is a bestseller, that's proven on Etsy or Amazon. Just go and find it. Don't worry about this being a design that you're going to sell down the line. This is just something as a placeholder, so that when you're testing your mock-up, you're only testing the mock-up. Because if the design doesn't, if you don't get sales, it won't be because that design is proven to get sales. It's got thousands of sales potentially, right? And that way you can fully test the mock-up, and then once you've tested the mock-up and you've got a winning mock-up, doing with what you do with that design is up to you. If you want to continue selling it, make sure you're allowed to sell it. You're not ripping anyone off, or stop selling it. But at least at that point, you've got this winning entity, this mock-up that you can use across all your other designs to then test them out fairly.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a good strategy. And if designs are the most important part, do you have any tips of how to create good designs? Whether it is, the niches to target, the principles of design, anything there?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I focus on, probably the most in the community, is getting people to a stage where they're really good at creating designs. The most important thing, what I kind of tell people is the most important, think of it as a tier. The most important thing is placement, so just the layout of the text, the graphic, whatever you do. The next most important thing is the phrase. So if you are going to go for text, what text are you going for? Is it funny? Is it this? Is that whatever? Is it a good, recognizable phrase that people will like, or is it just something you've made up and you thought was good? Then 3 would be the graphic that you use and the font that you use, and 4 would be just the color and making sure it all matches. So, people go for lots of different fonts on one design, and that's a big no-no. And then on top of that, people will go for a graphic and a font that just there's no synergy there. So that's also a big no-no. But once you can get your placement down and you can get your phrase down, then you're pretty good to go. So what we've created, which we give people, is we've created this infographic of 100 templates of the best, most proven winning designs on the internet, whether that's Etsy, Amazon, our own store. And we've kind of created the template as blocks, so text block and image block, and then we've got a design next to it to kind of show people what it looks like. So that way, anyone that can't design, they've ticked placement. All they need to do is drag text into the style, drag a graphic into the style, they're good. The next thing is the font. So the next issue people will have is what text they drag in, what font are they dragging in. So then we've got an infographic of the best-selling fonts. The fonts either the best-selling on Etsy again, or best-selling fonts for us. So now they've got their templates, they've got their fonts, they haven't had to think yet. And the next step is graphics, which is where we show people how to kind of use AI, because if you can't make a graphic, you can't make a graphic. You're not going to become an artist overnight. But using AI effectively and properly, knowing how to use the right AI, not just something that looks really AI-like. Once you've got that, you can then drop that in. And then I guess the most important thing is the phrase. But the best way to kind of get a phrase is either you can use AI, like ChatGPT or something, or honestly, I literally say, go and do some research on Etsy or on Amazon. If you see a phrase that you like and it's not trademarked or anything, use that phrase, go for it. Just obviously make it your own. Don't pixel for pixel copy that whole design. But if you can do that, you've got the placements, the templates, you've got a proven phrase, you've got your fonts for the phrase that you need, and then you've got the graphic. You kind of just put it all together. And we found that there are people who just aren't designers. Not even we did a poll on our community, and it was something like 78% of people in the community no design background, they're not designers, but they were creating these great designs that I really, really liked, and everyone really liked, because they were just able to kind of like put the puzzle pieces together in a way. They didn't really have to be super creative.
And that's thanks or with the help of your like a template PDF or whatever you've got. What was it?
Yeah, so it's like a big infographic. We give 30 away for free in the free community, so I can show people what it looks like. But it's basically just like, imagine a big infographic with 100 best-selling t-shirts on it, and next to the t-shirt, whether you see the design. So for example, here this would be the t-shirt, and then the template would just be the rectangle that's like the right size for Printify, and it would just be a box here with like a picture of an image, so that people know if you're going to use a design like this, you drag your image into this little box. Oh, this is a bad example because it wouldn't be like this, but it would be like a big box, and then you'd have like text over here, you'd have like the image box here, and then maybe you have like text underneath or something, and that would be like a very basic generic template.
Well, I'll put a link below to your community, so people that do want to see it, they can check it
Sweet.
out there, right? Talk to me a little bit about your community. Like, how's that going? What are some common beginner mistakes that you see people making there? That'd be interesting.
It's quite a lot. I think a big mistake that people make is not accepting like feedback, like being very set in their way. So they make a design, they're like, this is great. Like, it's not getting any sales. There's got to be something wrong with the customer because it's great. Whereas if it's not getting sales, that's all the feedback that you need. People aren't liking it, move on. And people get like very fixated with their work, and they're like, this is great, this is going to work. And oftentimes, like, we'll do feedback, so we give feedback as well, and we'll say, you know, this you might want to change this, you might want to change that. It's like, no, this is great. I was like, okay, fine, let us know how it goes.
Stubbornness is a mistake.
But I mean, a lot of mistakes people have is and then the biggest one is a lot of people love coming up with a brand new idea, not necessarily like a new design, but a new phrase. So like, let's say that you'll be in the baking niche and you'll come up with like a baking phrase or something. I don't know. I make amazing cupcakes or something. I don't know, whatever. Right. My first question is, you know, what's this based on? Like, what's the research that you've done into this? Like, give me some data behind this phrase and this, like, you know, elements of it worked. And they're like, oh no, I just thought of it. I think it's really good. I was like, okay. Yeah. I mean, you could use it, but like, you want to try and base your especially your early designs off winning ideas that have been proven to work, because you're going to be spending this money testing these designs. You don't want to you don't want to be testing the market like brand new things. You end up spending a fortune for that. And people like doing that a lot. And that's definitely something that holds people back. Just thinking they need to reinvent the wheel rather than see what's out there. Because I'm a big believer in research. And again, one of the first things we do after picking a niche is building out like a mood board. And we do this for our business. And basically this mood board is various boxes on Figma. What we'll do is we'll go research on like Amazon, Etsy, Google, even Redbubble for that matter, because there can be good designs of Redbubble, and we'll drag in everything that we deem is worthy, deem is good, and put it in our mood board. It doesn't necessarily have to have gotten sales, but it has to be a good design. And then we'll like start designing based off of that. What I see a lot of the time is the designs people drag into their mood board. If they do mood boards, a lot of people skip this step, which I think is a big no-no. But if they do the mood board, a lot of people actually drag in bad designs because they haven't yet understood how to determine what a good design is. And then when you drag in a bad design, you're going to base your design off a bad design, which means inevitably you're going to create a bad design. So a lot of the time we spend a lot of time doing mood board feedback. So like people send their mood board in, I shoot like a little Loom video kind of going over their mood board and being like, yeah, these designs are great, I would get rid of this one because of this, this and this. And that way they know and they understand for next time what not to include and why not to include it. And I'm like, and these are all great because of this, this and this. And that way when they go to create their own designs, they're like, okay, if my design looks vastly different to these ones that I'm finding, then something's wrong. But if I'm kind of going off the same kind of font styles and the same graphic styles, the same grunge look or the same placements, then you know you're in like the right ballpark.
Interesting. What in terms of niche selection, what do you recommend to people there?
So I always say start with something you're going to enjoy, because you're going to spend a lot of time on this. And if you don't enjoy it, don't do it for the money, because the money's not there, especially at the beginning. You know, the money comes, but like, for example, if you love golf, great, go for golf. You know, if you've done research and golf is really popular, but you have absolutely no interest in golf and you don't know anything about golf, you don't even know what like a driver is or anything, then I'm like, don't do golf, because you're going to really struggle. And then when like, you know, shit hits the fan a little bit and you're like, what do I do next? Like, what designs do I make? What puns do I do? What this, what that? What do my customers want to see? You'll have no idea. So I always tell people to do what they like. And then I'm a big believer that many niches are fine. Like, you know, music, baking, nature, dogs and cats, fishing, swimming. There's just so many out there that work. What I see some people do, which is a bit of a mistake, is they make their niche design style. So there's like, you've got niches and you've got design styles. So like a design style is like humor or sarcastic or grunge or vintage. Like these are like styles that work in every niche. And then you have niches like fishing, you know, or baking or books or whatever. These are like niches, and you can have funny fishing designs, you can have sarcastic fishing designs, you can have vintage fishing designs, you can have all of these design styles within the niche. And the reason why I say that is very important is because you want to have a website. Again, if you've got like a lot of different designs to begin with, then yeah, just go for it and put it all on a website and see what sticks. But like if you're starting from scratch, you want to have a website that has like a single type of avatar, a single type of person that will come to your site, scroll through and want to buy a whole bunch of stuff. If you have like an everything store and you're selling a fishing design, they come to your website and they start seeing dog designs and car designs and golf designs, and they stumble across one fishing design, you might get that one fishing sale, but you're not going to make any money. You cannot be successful in this business if your average order value is one sale. You need your average order value to be like 1.8 to 2.2, because the cost of ads and the cost of, you know, production, all that kind of stuff, you need it to be higher. You need to be like over $40. You know, if you could do 45, even better. By having that niche focused store, someone who likes fishing comes to your store and they see like 10 fishing designs that they like. Maybe they end up buying 3. That's brilliant. That's what you're looking for. And that's a profitable store. And then you can sell that store as a niche focused like fishing brand. You're building a brand there, versus like the everything store.
So ideally something like a hobby, an animal, maybe occupation, but focusing on one topic, like an evergreen topic that people would like, with lots of different spins to it. Funny,
yeah, exactly. And that's the, you throw a lot at the wall. So like, again, let's say you're in the fishing niche and you create funny designs, sad designs, just designs like that have no emotional reaction or anything. You got a whole bunch of designs, you put them on your store, you run the ads, you see which one bites, you see which one like starts working, and then your next batch of designs will be based on that. So if the funny one takes off, then go and create 20 more funny ones. Don't go and then create 20 more sad ones, because the sad ones didn't get any sales. And that's kind of like, so you focus on one niche, but you throw a lot in there, and then you whittle it down within that niche. You're still in the fishing overall niche, but you whittle down the design style to see what people actually end up liking.
When it comes to the ads, what have you learned over the past year? What kind of helps with those? Because obviously there's multiple parts to it. There's the copy, the text in the ad, there is the mock-up itself. And some people watching are probably, you know, just on Amazon, where we've got like the most boring mock-ups in the world. Some people are coming from Etsy. Like, what kind of style of mock-up seems to work, and also what's important for the actual copy around the ad?
So I can say for us, and I can say for anyone in our community, but I can't speak like broadly. But like for us, having 2 very basic accessories in the bottom left and right corner, a nice big t-shirt that's like stretching from top to bottom, from side to side, because the t-shirt's the main thing, the design's the main thing, right? So you want that to be big front and center, and then having little accessories on either corner. The right corner, we tend to have like a bright color accessory, whether it's red or yellow or green, not neon colors, but bright, because that's where the call to action tends to be. Like the shop now button tends to be right under that. So your eyes get drawn into the design and then they kind of scroll down into the bright color. what I see a lot of people do is they put some, accessories all over. Like they'll put a big accessory across the t-shirt and then a big accessory at the bottom. And you kind of just like, the design gets lost in the surroundings. So we want to make sure that the design is front and center. You got like little accessories. And then the copy is important, but it's something that is like, should be tested. I don't like saying, do this copy, it's going to work. I also don't like saying, do this mock-up, it's going to work, which is why we recommend people do the mock-up test. But same with copy, you can have a very basic copy, like if you've got some sales, X amount sold, and then like a link, or if you've got reviews, 5-star, whatever, or if you just starting out, you can just be like, fishing t-shirt sale, grab your fishing t-shirt, and then
discount, something that you can do.
Yeah, grab a 35% discount on a site-wide discount now, and then the link underneath. We test a lot of things, and it also depends on who you're advertising to. If you're advertising to a cold audience, then you want the generic thing. If you're advertising to like someone who's left it in their cart, you might advertise like, we saw you left something in your cart, here's free shipping. If you're advertising to a past buyer, you'll be like, did you like your item? We've just released these items. So like, you want to also bear in mind who you're trying to target.
What about grid ads, like multiple designs in one? Because those seem to be working better for me than like just an individual design.
Yeah, they work better for us as well. They're really, really popular. I think the reason why they're popular is just because it gives people many options at once. Like if you like, for us, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a grid ad, and with just one static ad, like one single image, you've got one chance to win them over to click. With 6, you've got 6 chances. The only drawback to that is they're very hard to see. So what I've actually found, and you should be careful of this, is the grid ads tend to have the lowest cost per click. They tend to get the most clicks, but they don't necessarily convert the best. And the reason I think for that is, on a grid ad, the design is small enough where people can't, if it's words, people can't quite see what it says. And what we found is a lot of people click it just to see what it said, but with no intention to actually buy. Yeah. Now with grid ads, it's slightly different. So we have we had a design that got the cheapest clicks. It was like Facebook was loving it. It was giving it all the budget, and I was like, why isn't this design not getting any sales? And we realized it was getting the clicks because it was a single design, but the words on the design were too small. So the actual design was like big on the mock-up, but the words were too small. So it got a lot of clicks. People clicked it, they wanted to see what it said, and then they would leave. They didn't care. With the grid ads, because you're showing so many, they might not be able to see it, like the text so much, but because they come to your store and they want to go and find individual designs, there's a good possibility that they'll stumble across something that they actually like and want to buy. So grid ads are better, but like, just be careful if you're ever doing a design where the text is too small and it gets cheap clicks. It's usually because people just want to see what that design said. They have no interest in buying it.
I guess a good compromise is then, if you're doing a lot of grid ads, try and focus on designs that have like big bold letters, right? Not a lot of tiny details in them.
Yeah.
That way you're still getting people more interested because there's a lot of stuff to look at, but they're still able to read it as well as that.
We just did grid ads based on our best sellers. That's how we decided them. Which obviously you need to have sales in order to do, but yeah.
Once you've found ads that are doing well, that get a low cost per click, the next step then is to optimize the site, right? Or get them to convert, get the clicks to convert. So do you have any advice there for people of what to do on Shopify to actually make your store convert?
So funnily enough, like, I agree with that statement, but like not so like so yeah, so the most important thing is a low cost per click, right? Let's say you can get 50-cent cost per clicks. It means, every dollar you spend, you get 2 people to your website. $10, you get 20 people to your website, right? And if your website's converting at like 5% conversion rate, you can start really working out what your sales are, right? A low cost per click, so you get lots of traffic to your website. If you're not getting sales on your website, yes, there could be an element of your website that could be improved without a doubt, like, is the add to cart button nice and bright? A lot of people want to make an add to cart button match their color scheme, so like they just go for a color that works for their color scheme, when actually it needs to be bright so it stands out. So yeah, there are like things you can optimize on the website, but if an ad has low cost per click but it's not getting sales, I would probably question the designs more than the actual site. People like to really hyper focus on increasing the conversion rate of their website. So they're getting really low cost per clicks, and but their website's not converting. If your website is like a basic website with a simple add to cart, you've made sure that like your shipping profiles are correct, you've made sure it works, that it's fast, and you've gone through the checkout and buying process and everything works, and it's like a nice clean website, there isn't really a reason why it shouldn't work. People kind of sometimes blame, I don't have any reviews, that's why. But like, everyone has to start from somewhere. We had no reviews when we started either. And funnily enough, we actually had better conversion rates when we had no reviews to when we had like 3 or 4 reviews and it started working its way up. Because when you had 3 or 4 reviews, it jogs people's memory. They're like, oh yeah, this website has reviews, but it doesn't have very many. When you have no reviews, people just forget that reviews even exist and they just go through and they buy. So it's actually a really, like, there's a sweet spot, but it's like, 0 reviews converted way better for us than anything up to like 15 reviews. And at 15, it was still a bit like, they've only got 15 reviews. That's a bit crap. But like, I mean, there's lots of ways you can optimize a website. You can forever be optimizing website, but I'll take it back to what I said earlier is optimizing your website is great. And especially if you can like increase it by 1% or 2, that makes a big difference. But every design that you make is a potential for a raise, like a big raise. So for me, I will always put most of my attention on new designs. So let's say we get a design and it's getting, or an ad, and it's getting like a 40 cents cost per click or 50 cents cost per click. And maybe it's getting a sale here and there, but it's not converting very well. I'll look at that design, I'll look at that mock-up, I'll be like, why is that happening? What phrase is being used? What graphics are being used? Like, what is leading it to get a low cost per click? And then I will create similar designs, but maybe with different phrases or different topics within the niche to continue the low cost per click, but maybe increase the chance of potentially getting sales, finding that winner. Like if your website's converting at 2 to 4%, that's pretty solid. That's pretty good. I think 2 to 3 is industry standard. So anything over 3 is really good. If it's under 2%, then yeah, you could probably do some changes, fix some things. But like if our website's ever over 3%, we have a low cost per click, but not many sales, I'll usually look at the designs more than the actual site. But then there's also something that you can factor in, which is like the collection page versus the home page. So for a lot of people, the home page will convert a lot higher than the collection page. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, then maybe you want to send people to your home page versus sending them to your collection page. Or maybe sending them directly to a product page converts even higher. So there's like I said, I love the data. I love the analytics side of things. Like there's a lot you can like really like dive deep into like in Shopify to really figure out what your next steps should be.
One thing that just came to my mind randomly is I think a lot of people are put off Shopify as well because of customer support, right? If you start getting a lot of sales, you'll have to answer questions or make sure the orders are running smoothly. So how do you get around that?
You don't. I mean, I find it so funny that like I can have conversations with people and they're like, but I really want to build this business. I want it to be really good, but like I don't want to deal with customers. I'm just like, but you're building a business. That's like saying a photographer doesn't want to edit their photos. They really want to take the photos, but like they can't be bothered for the editing. It's like a long, boring process. Like if you're trying to build a successful business here, your business are your customers. If you're telling me I don't care about my customers, I don't want to spend time like helping them or sorting them out, then you're in the wrong business. Like you should be in, well, I mean, every business has a form of customers in a way, right? It's the same with anything. Again, going back to a photographer, if a photographer doesn't like to deal with their customers, they're going to really struggle when it comes to going and doing the job. So truthfully, the customer service really isn't that bad. Like we get an email every couple of days if there's a problem, and we have a very basic policy. It's like if there's an issue, we'll give you a refund. We'll send you a new one. If you don't want it, you can donate to charity. Like you don't have to worry. Like yeah, we'll lose a little bit of money here and there on customer service, but we end up getting better reviews for that. We end up getting repeat customers for that, and it's a lot less work for us to do those things. And then down the line, if your business is really doing well, then just outsource your customer service. Hire a person in another country to do your customer service, to make sure they're responding to your emails and all of that. And there you go. But at the beginning, you are going to be a one-man team or one-woman team trying to like do everything. I'd say don't cut corners. Don't like think, oh, I'm going to do Amazon so I can avoid customer service. Like, I don't know.
I think what I was trying to get at is like at the beginning, you're probably not going to have that many inquiries because you're not getting sales.
No.
Right. Once you get the sales, you can always outsource it. Right. That's not the end
Yeah,
of the world.
but even getting the sales, like we're talking thousands. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of sales now, and probably less than 100 customer service emails.
That's
Probably
very
less than
reassuring.
50. Like, yeah, like, it's really not that many. Like, you got a couple of people where they get the wrong size. You get a couple of people where there's an issue with the shirt, so you just send them a new one. You got a couple of people who just simply don't want it. And then you got a couple of people that have a couple of questions before even buying. So like, it's really not common. It's really not common.
No, that's reassuring. That's good. Once you have a bunch of emails as well, once you've actually got customers, sales are coming in. Obviously, another aspect of Shopify is doing email marketing, right? So, do you have any advice there?
Yeah, I mean, forget waiting for sales to come in. Have a pop up on your website or something. That and like offer like 10 or 15% off. That way you can grab people's emails as prospect buyers. Also make sure if you're using Shopify, you have like add to cart reminders set up and all those kind of things set up. And that way people are being like pinged to buy. And then if you actually have an email list of customers, that's like gold dust because they're proven to like your stuff. They're proven to buy stuff. When you should send a couple of emails a week, or depending on the time of year, but like a new drop, a new launch. And because, let's say, again, looking at the fishing niche, let's say it's a fishing niche, when you release a new fishing design, they're going to probably like it, versus an everything store. It's very hard to email out your customers being like, we've got a fishing design, because like 99.9% of them probably don't care about fishing. So yeah, when you have new drops, email them. When you during the weekend, email them. During an event, like take every kind of event, like my birthday. It's my birthday today. Because it's my birthday, I'm giving everyone 15% off, or the company just turned a year old, so thank you for this, blah, blah. So really use the emails, because emails in a way, I mean, it's not free marketing, it's not free sales because you're paying for those emails, but you're paying a very, very small amount for what you can get from them.
And they're already warm customers, which is the big thing, right? So Facebook ads, you're probably going to be spending more, and most likely you're looking at people that have never bought from you, never seen your shop. Whereas emails, that's most likely people that have given you their email for a discount code, or they've purchased from you. So it makes sense. Like the conversion should be higher.
Yeah, they're either warm or they are mega hot. One of the two. They're very unlikely to be cold.
Do you also send out like non-salesy emails where it's not about a new drop, not about discount codes? Do you send anything that's like more like informational, entertainment stuff?
Not really. Not really. I mean, I base a lot of the stuff that I do, a lot of my testing on popular stores out there, like big stores like Gymshark or something, depending on the niche that you're in. So let's say Gymshark's the fitness niche. It wouldn't surprise me to get like an email about weightlifting, common practices when weightlifting to avoid injury. Let's say they do that. And that could be quite informative. I could read that and I could like really enjoy it and associate myself with the brand even more. But it doesn't work for all niches. I mean, it works for a lot of niches, to be honest. And it could be quite a nice way to nurture the brand and build it rather than constantly asking people for something, actually giving back. It could be quite nice. We haven't tested that so much in our niche. Our niche is, I can't think of many things that we could do for our niche. There's probably something, but like, yeah, if there's a way that you can give back in the form of like, top 5 trails that you can do in America, or
like a hiking store, yeah,
or like I don't know, like best fishing spots in the US, whatever. I guess you could do that. It might come across as a bit random. I very, very rarely receive promotional emails from shops that I'm subscribed to, like real shops that I'm subscribed to, that are just purely information based.
Well, that's good to know as well, because I think some people listening might assume, all right, I have to give these people a lot of value in the emails and not just talk about new shirts, because it might seem too salesy or put people off or report it as spam. But if you're not even doing that, that's good to know as well. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you think is important for people to know? Or
probably a lot. I don't know. What I will say is though, like, it's hard, but it's worth it, like, and you know what, I would say Amazon and Etsy, they're also hard.
Yeah.
And they're also worth it. Like anything is worth it. I say this to everyone. I say, if you go into print on demand, great. You know, there isn't something about print on demand that's going to make you succeed or make you fail. Whatever you go into, whether it's drop shipping, print on demand, YouTube, whatever it is, every business has proven to work for someone or lots of people. So that proves that it's a business model that works. If it doesn't work for you, it's not the business model's fault. I'm not saying it's your fault, but I'm saying it's not because of the model that you've gone for. Like, if you fail to succeed in dropshipping, it's not because dropshipping doesn't work anymore. It's not because dropshipping is dead. It's not. There are people succeeding with it every single day, and I say the same thing goes for print on demand. So for a lot of people who want to give up with print on demand, who think print on demand is dead or doesn't work because they're not getting sales with it, it's not print on demand that doesn't work. It's I don't want to say it's you, but it's not you, but it's
partly. It is partly,
it's
but
partly,
I think it's different aspects. There's either time, maybe you've only given this a week, right? Rarely anyone will succeed in a week. Or it's knowledge. You're lacking some knowledge.
Yeah, I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm not saying like I'm not saying you're at fault, you got to work harder. I'm saying like the complete opposite. I'm saying you are capable of doing anything, whether it's print on demand, then fine. It was YouTube. Like, you have what it takes to be successful. You have it in you, just like anyone else has it in you. If you can dedicate enough time that for you, maybe the amount of time you've got to dedicate is different to the amount of time I've got to dedicate, whatever. But if you can dedicate enough time and really give it your all to make this business work, it is a proven system. It's a proven business. It will work. It just will. It has for everyone else, or it has for a lot of other people. So don't like give up on print on demand and go to like Amazon and be like, I'm now going to do Amazon FBA because print on demand didn't work. Because if you got that mentality, then that's also going to not work, and then the next one's not going to work. Next one's not going to work. You've got to just make sure that failure isn't or it not working isn't in the path, and just make sure you give it as much as you can possibly give it, and you'll make it work. You will.
And everyone's going to have a different experience, and I think this is important to recognize. And we might be a good example for this, because you said in your second month you started to see some results with your Shopify store, and you were creeping back up from the hole, in a sense. I've done 2 months, and I'm not really there yet. Right, it's taking me longer, but I'm also not a very data-driven person. Like I couldn't care less about data. I just prefer making videos and creating designs. That's what I enjoy. So. You come to it from a different angle, with a different skill set, with different interests, and therefore some of these business models might take you a little bit longer to understand or succeed in. And yeah, I've done POD for many years, but it's still taking me a while to figure out the Shopify side of things, which just shows the beginning is hard with most new things that you start, even if you come at it with a bit of talent, with a bit of knowledge. You have to persist.
I think of it as like a 100-meter race. Everyone on the start line is a professional. Everyone is going to get to the end. So everyone's going to get there. They're just going to get there at different times because they have different abilities or they've got different skill sets within their running. So like, I have no doubt you're going to get to a point where you're making a lot of money with your Shopify store, right? You're just going to hit that 100-meter race line at a different time to me, or a different time to someone else, or there'll be people way faster than me, there'll be people slower than me, there'll be like everyone's gonna get to the same end goal. It's like, as another example I always use is like queuing up for a plane. People like when you got to board a plane and everyone's sitting down, and then they jump up and they rush to get to the front of the queue, and then like people pay for speedy boarding. All I can think about is, do you realize we are all going to get to the destination at the exact same time? You can get on the plane half an hour before me. We are still going to get to our destination at the same time. So it's like similar in a way. Like, I guess this way, you'll get to a destination at a different time, but you will get there. Everyone will get there. It will just take you longer or shorter or whatever, and that's absolutely fine. Just don't let it put you off. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Most important thing. Talk to me about your T-shirt.
Oh, this one.
A little bit of a story behind it, isn't there?
I created a community in April of 2024, and it's a print on demand community. Like, I have like a flywheel for my business. There's YouTube, there's my store, and there's the community. And like, I create videos based on what I'm learning in my store. I create like information and help people based on what I'm learning in the store, and then like I do my store. It's like all like a flywheel kind of thing, right? It all works together. Anyway, so I thought, print on demand community, there needs to be some form of merch. So for the last few months, we've been like kind of brainstorming and designing. And I wanted to make a design that wasn't like just branded. Like I didn't want to say the print on demand hub, like big. So like there's no branding like anywhere, like not on the back either. Like there's very, very subtle brand. Like it says it like very small over there, like in the embroidery. And then on the back, there's a bunch of like Easter eggs. For anyone in the community, they'll see the Easter eggs and they'll like spot things and they'll be like, oh yeah, I know that and I know that. And we spent a long time drawing it. I'll show you the back. That's the back.
That's really cool. That's a nice back print.
It was like hand drawn. Again, it took a long, long time. I thought if I'm gonna do a design, I want it to be really good. I don't want to half-ass the job. So I did it with my brother. He did the final drawing. We released it last week on my birthday on the 5th. I was like, it's my birthday, so like here's a cool present. We don't charge anyone for them. They're free in the community.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a 100% off coupon. But that's not a reason to join, just saying. But it's fun. I love it. And it's really comfy. It's really good merch. It looks
really
great.
good. It's a nice color as well. It's funny, actually, before we started this recording, the first thing I said to you is like, hey, nice shirt. And I didn't even know it's part of the community. So yeah, that's awesome. I'll have the link to that in the description as well, to your community.
Thank you.
And I mean, that's a place where people can learn from you. You've got your YouTube channel. Is there anywhere else but people can learn from you or reach you? Or
honestly, at this point in my life, I'm focusing on the three things: YouTube, the community, and my own business, my own brand. I'm really trying, because the last time we spoke about this, you were like, well, you're doing like 10 businesses. How are you like juggling everything? I'm really trying to like not get distracted by other things. Like people come to me like, what, like, should I do this? Should I do that? Can I do that? And I've got lots of ideas like floating, but I'm trying to like just stay super focused on these three things. And then with our store, my wife, Lauren, she does like 95% of the work on the brand now. It's like her full-time thing. And I'm like mainly on YouTube and in the community, and then I help her out with the store. But yeah, that's like literally it. The best place to find me is YouTube or in either the free or the paid community.
Awesome. Yeah. You're trying to get rid of the shiny object syndrome, which I think we all kind of struggle with sometimes. So
yes.
I think that's a great message to end on. Thanks a lot for coming on, Shimmy. I'll have the links down below. And yeah.
Sweet. It was good talking.